Yes, Astonished, welcome back. I'm nearly falling off my stool. I'm so excited. It is great. Thank you for connecting. Wow, what a great word. We are here with some wonderful people. Can we have a hello? You are looking beautiful. Well, we're going to get round to introducing our panel in a bit. So wherever you're connecting from, hello. How are you finding Astonished? Let's get the chat going. Let's get it flowing like milk and honey, I believe, David, they call it. We are happy in the building. We've just had curry, everybody. It was fantastic. Anyone got a sweat on? I had a tiny bit. No, they're all right. I've had a little bit. But the crew are still in here. Can we have a big up for all of the crew, everybody? Come on. They have been incredible. So I'm hoping that you're enjoying Astonished. We've got an hour session now to finish off. We're calling it after hours. It feels really good. Hey, but we've got some other special guests. Should we go to you guys first? So we have got 4 amazing panelists, everybody. I feel like I'm looking round at them, smiling lots. Let's start from this side. Young man over there, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Darren, and I lead Ignite Church and a few other Elim churches that we're starting around Lincolnshire and other places too.
If you know Daz, come on, I want a big up because he is an absolute hero. And what are you commonly known as, referred to, Daz?
Chav Pastor is what they started calling me in town when I first got here. But yeah, that's my Twitter and my Insta as well is Chav Pastor. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Daz is such a hero of the faith. Hey, Daz, why don't you tell us a bit about what you've been doing with the food distribution? Because we've had a crazy season over. Tell us a few stories of what's been happening with you.
Yeah, so I think I try and live a prophetic lifestyle. So when God says something, I do it. And so I think in November 2019, I said to God, I want a nice car. I feel like I want to be a pastor. So you know, because I've been driving around in a white van for years, you know. So and I was like, I want a BMW, I want a Beamer, a nice 3 Series, you know. So God said, put your van up for sale. So I was like, all right, and I'll do that. And I put my van up for sale, and some geezer swapped it for a BMW. I was like, banging. So that was well good. And then and I was like, now how am I going to move stuff around? And so God said, well, what do you want? I said, well, I want a van with a tow lift so I can move around pallets of food rather than our boxes of food that we normally do. And then he gave us 14 grand, so we brought this massive big old van. And then yeah, so as a kid, 5 years old, I was caught stealing stale bread off my next door neighbour's bird table to feed me and my sisters. And this year, between like December, towards the end of December last year to March this year, we must have given away about £500,000 worth of fresh food. So, you know, it's banging, isn't it?
Oh,
easy peasy.
You are such an inspiration, and you're proper on unity. So it's been all the churches coming on board. But I want to honour you because you've really spearheaded it. And what's the Servolution book? That's been a massive impact in your life. Tell them about that.
Yeah, so I think I actually went to Excel Men's Conference just after I became a Christian in October 2008, I think it was. And Dino Rizzo was speaking. And Dino Rizzo wrote this book called Servolution. It basically tells a story about how he started this new church and then just started giving stuff away. And I'm sure you know the story better than what I do, but they got like a church with like articulated lorries all around the car park, and people can come and get whatever they want. And they're just giving away so much over the years, you know. So yeah, like, I think I read it and I was just like, man, I want to do that, you know. So yeah. So when some geezer rang me like end of December saying, do you want to pick up 3 pallets of food a day? I was like, yeah, we'll do that. And then I was like, now how do we do that? You know, so that's where you guys all come in, you know. So yeah, decent.
Oh, come on, let's show. Come on, big shout out for the main man, Mr. Darren Edwards in the house. So Daz would be on the panel, and I love it. It was biblical because we went to this warehouse in partnership with Daz. And one day they gave us 6,000 bits of fish and 5,000 loaves. And we opened up the van with church on the side in a car park. It felt so biblical. We were just giving it away and blessing the community. Yeah. And we love you, Darren. You add a great flavour to us at Astonished Men's Conference. Hey, does this champ need any introduction? Mr. David Rock!
Brilliant.
Hey, Dave, how are you finding it? Are you still with us? Are you awake?
I am good. It's late night for me, but I'm doing well.
Oh, yeah, because you've got big family, mate. You've still got young uns, haven't you?
I've got 45 kids.
That's the way he was doing it in lockdown, everybody.
I've got 4 kids, got twins, and then an 8...
Whoa, pause. Twins.
Twins, who are 15 months, and then a 3 going on 4, and then an 8-year-old who's with me tonight. So, no, I'm doing well. I'm not complaining. We are blessed.
Well, the word, come on, let's get a bit of encouragement for Dave. That word was brilliant today.
Yeah.
I think it's really connected with guys. And right now, wherever you're connected from, let's get some questions. We're going to open up the panel. You can ask anyone just by a little introduction. And we've got a little treat in a minute as well, okay? Hey, a lot of love, Darren, you legend. A few people on here. They're absolutely loving it. Come on then. Looking forward to this chat. Hey, but Dave, great to have you on board. Mr. James Prentice in the house, everybody. Mr. James Prentice, how are you? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Why do I get the mister? No one else gets the mister.
You know,
Am I honoured or are you making fun of me, Dan, you know?
No, because I know that you're going to get the theological questions later.
Oh, right, okay, great, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah,
For those who might not know, yes.
So I'm James Prentice, I'm like lead pastor at Life Church Lincoln. It's just great to be here. It's really great to be doing stuff with other churches in the city. We were doing food distribution with Daz as well, and yeah, it's just really good to do stuff in partnership, isn't it?
James is like one of these proper pastors. We go for walks, socially distanced, and he like genuinely asks me how I'm doing, and he means it, and he listens to me. You know, like one of them real proper pastors. Are you one of them, Dave? No, I'm not. Shh, don't tell anyone. Oh no, it's getting streamed all around the world. But James, sponsored by Adidas. Daz, did you get this in the Servolution project, or?
No. I got this from my lad. I copy my teenager, don't I?
Yeah. I reckon I'm getting to that stage soon where I'm going to be borrowing my lad's stuff. He's getting already cooler than me.
Yeah.
But hey, leather jackets still rule. So James, great having you on board. We love you, mate. We love our partnership. Any questions you want, feel free to ask these guys. And last by no means least, here's our favourite. No, I can't say favourite youth pastor.
Oh, no, you can. Yeah, go on, carry on.
No, I'm just going to say, like, our favourite barber. It's Mr. Nick Elliott!
Hey.
Matt, you know I love you. Lucy, you've pastors all throughout. I love
He's
you.
just left the chat. He's
Yeah,
left the church.
I'm just saying my favourite guy, I think. I don't know, but then I'll offend all these guys. Anyway, I'm talking to him. Mr. Nick Elliott, would you like to introduce yourself for those who don't know?
Yeah, I'm Nick. I run an Adidas distribution centre. These boys.
Thanks for the...
No, I'm the youth pastor here in Lincoln Central, Alive, and also, like Dan mentioned, set up my own barber's business last July, which has been shut down half the year, so cheers for that. And I'm also a football referee as well, which I'm very passionate about. So,
Absolutely, just drop the, I'm a referee as
drop
well.
it in.
Have we got any abuse for the referees coming in? What we got here?
Monitor that chat ASAP.
Better get the specs over.
Yeah. Hey, Preno's getting a bit of love on here. Okay. Oh, Dave, what a whopper of a word.
Who's that for?
Whopper.
Who's that from? Abs Niblock. It's great. Hey, come on, everybody, let's give it up for the main man, Mr. Nick Elliott. Right, we've got a treat, everyone. Are you with me for this treat? Because we are not alone today. There's been thousands of people all throughout the UK checking us out on YouTube, but also...
Is that real or is that a lie?
I don't know, I'm just talking, aren't I?
Speaking it into existence.
Yeah.
I'm confessing it, mate.
You can't confess lies.
I talk about the potential. Faith is bringing in the things that are unseen.
Brilliant. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Oh, thanks, guys. I got a bit of backup. Yeah, new block. It's so good. Well, how good has Astonished been? So I'd love you to get the questions flowing. Let's ask these. Let's open it up. We want real men chat. Is that a thing? Can we say that?
Yeah.
Any questions off bound today?
No.
You need to get these guys on.
Oh yeah, I'm going to get these guys on. No, I haven't. Right, anyway, thank you, Dave, for reminding me. We have got a Zoom live audience.
People love Zoom.
Oh, they love Zoom.
Yes.
Can we have... Here they are, everybody! Oh, can we show them some love? Look at them beautiful people. Hey, let's come to a few of them. Top left-hand corner, Mr. Richard Coombs. Would you like to unmute yourself? How are you doing, Mr. Richard Coombs?
I'm doing well, thank you, Dan.
You're good. Now, Richard, what we're going to say is if anyone, when I ask them to unmute themselves, if they don't unmute themselves, they're going to have to put £20 into, well, new pair of jeans for Nick first, but then we will put it in the offering secondly.
Has anybody noticed Richard Coombs' background?
Richard Coombs' background? No, I haven't. What is that?
He's got a gym bar behind him.
He's got a gym bar. So, Dave, you were talking about addictions, and Richard, it's great to have you on board. Whoop whoop. Hey, let's come to a few others. Oh, wait a minute. Is that Matthew Bell, the real life Matthew Bell? Matt Bell in the house, everybody! Whoop whoop.
Hi, Dan. You're calling me by the same way that my mother addresses me. It's Friday, so you can call me Matt. You know, we're not so but thanks for having us on, Dan. It's been a great night, hasn't it?
Oh, well, Matt, we love you. You're a comedy genius, so no pressure, but you better tell some good gags throughout the night, mate.
Where you get that idea from? Hey, Dan, I thought you were about to sing a Westlife song. That's all.
I actually got told I look like the lead singer of Westlife. What's his name?
What, the person who told you that? I think they were blind.
Hey!
Was it me? I need to
No,
go to
who was the name? Who was the name of the Westlife? Tom Law's in it. You know Tom Law.
Brian.
No, when I had hair. It was like a mixture between Richard Gere and like...
Brian guy, isn't it? Brian.
No, maybe... it's not Westlife. Who were the other band? They're all the same, aren't they? Boyzone. No. Hey, Joe's watching. Joe, who was it that you... Why we got married? Because I look like the lead. Anyway, we'll come back. Matt, it's great to have you on board.
He looks like... Look. You look...
Did you hear that? Right said Fred. Was that Mr. Howard Williams?
R.E.M.
Quick, get him some sugar, everybody. He's shouting me abuse.
Right said Fred.
Hey, great. Mr. Jonas Isles is in the house.
Yes, Jonas.
Come on, Jonas. Jonas, the Swedish warrior. How are you, Jonas? How did you find Dave's talk? Was it theologically correct?
It was all right, mate. Yeah, no, it was brilliant. It was a great talk. Really fired me up. Really spoken to what God's been saying to me already, and it's been a really great night.
We love Jonas is just a brilliant Bible teacher. He's more than that, though. We love. And Jonas, I know you've been getting up early. Are you all right up this late at night, mate?
Tell you what, mate, I'm up at 5 in the morning, so if I nod off, it's not deep prayer, but I could have got away with that if I weren't, could just say prayer.
Get him a Red Bull, everybody. Here we go. Jonas is with us. Hey, who else? Ollie Hutton's in the house. Yes, Mr. Ollie Hutton. How are you,
Evening,
you
guys.
worship warrior?
Hey guys, how are we doing?
We are good, mate. Have you been enjoying Astonished Conference so far?
It's been awesome. Really, really encouraging. It's just good to have a bit of banter this evening as well, isn't it? You guys are on top form.
Ollie, you're too kind. Yeah, I am very funny, actually. I'm more reactive, actually, rather than actually funny. I'm actually sweating in. Tom, can you turn these lights up a bit? They are. Hey, who else? Mr. Mark Stowe in the house. Woo woo. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hello. You all right?
Whoa, that's a clear sound. That is. How have you been finding Astonished, my friend?
Oh, brilliant. It's a great word from Dave tonight. Really powerful. Good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for the encouragement, mate. I brought several words
Yeah,
there.
you've got all right, Dan. Yeah.
All the praise and all the glory goes to you, Dave. Mark, we love you, man. How's life in the mighty Bassingham?
Yeah, it's all going good. I managed to skip the kids' bedtime tonight because of the conference, so that's a bonus. So all good.
I can hear a hallelujah in the house. Yeah, we all like that, don't we? Hey, I want to come to everyone. Sorry, this is going to take a bit of time. Kev Haynes in the house. Hello, Kev. How are you, my man?
Hello, mate. Not bad. I thought I'd come and sneak in and listen to what's going on. It's been brilliant tonight, so thank you for letting me to come along and just share the great evening.
What time are you taking off tonight, Kev? Where are you flying, mate? No, Kev's got one of them jobs. I don't want to give away too much, but you're not allowed to know what Kev does, everyone. That's it. Hey, Kev, tell us where you're from, mate, because you're from a faraway land, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Oxfordshire, Bicester. So we got a local Kingsmere village. We've got a local men's group, and we've been connecting with lots of different guys, groups and ministries. So it's been great to connect tonight. And a few of the guys have joined in tonight, and great talk. So yeah, just loving it. Really good, guys.
Oh, I'm loving it. Well, it's so good. We might need to quicken up. Not that I don't want to say hello to you. John Lawson in house. Hello, John. How are you, my man?
I'm cooking on gas.
Now, John, you know Dave Niblock from a previous life, mate, don't you? Was it nice to see
yeah.
both of your pastors in the house tonight?
It's a great joy. I haven't seen David for a couple of years since we moved down here, and he has changed one. He looks younger, if anything. I look older, and his preaching is 100% as it always was. So I've got a good question for you later if you've got time, Dave.
Oh yes, we're gonna get onto that as well. We're getting a lot of love, loving the bants, everybody. Top bants. We love a bit of that. We're great seeing you. Hey, we're going to quickly come round. Paul Blundell in the house. Hello, Paul. How are you, my mate?
Hello, I'm doing very well. What a great night. I'm enjoying a nice Belgian IPA as well as we enjoy this.
Yes, we love a bit of that, mate. Hey, how's the microclimate in Ingham getting on, mate? Is it 28 degrees?
Superb. You know what it's like. It's all sunny, boiling hot. It's been about 40 degrees today, so loving it.
The best thing, the best Paul Blundell story is we were staying at their house. They'd gone away, very kindly opened their house, and Paul's mother-in-law came round and she was going, yeah, it's a microclimate. It's always so hot in Ingham. It never rains. It was literally freezing and pouring. And I'm like, Audrey, look outside. Hey, Audrey getting a shout out. I bet she'll love that, won't she, Paul?
You'll be delighted.
I wonder how many ladies we've shouted out, and Audrey's got a shout out tonight. Well, Paul, we love you, mate. Hey, Ken Ryder. Ken is in the house. The crafty Cockney. How are you, Hammers?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks, mate. You know, it was great listening to Dave tonight, and I think it's the third or fourth time I've heard him, but I've got to listen to it all again because I didn't have a chance to get all the notes down, Dave, unless you've got them published.
You are the Christian stalker of Dave Niblock.
I learned very soon after joining the Live Lincoln.
Yeah.
I learned very soon after joining a Live Highcombe that it's easy to upset the preacher. And one Sunday morning, yeah, this is true. One Sunday morning, Dan was reading out his bucket list.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that he wanted to play football at Wembley. So I actually rubbed the salt in a bit and told him that I already had.
Ken, we love you, man. Ken is absolute gold. It's great to see you. Alex in the house. Alex, come and say hello, mate. How are you, buddy? Oh, is this the first £20 to rise and build? Alex, have we got you with us, mate? Can you say hello? Oh, bless him. He can't, well, he's here in spirit. Hey, and last but no means least, Mr. Richard Archer in the house. Hello, Richard, how are you? Oh, I know, we've frozen. Have we got Well, we'll come back to
Can you hear me, Dan?
So, hello, Richard, how are you, Mr. Archer?
I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me now?
And how have you found the first Astonished conference that you've been to, mate?
It's been good. It's been good insight and some very good sermons going on, very deep messages that really do make you contemplate what's going on at the minute.
Well, it's so good. Hey, can we have a big shout out to all of our Zoom audience here, everybody? So how we want to do is we want to obviously create opportunities for questions and invite you to say anything that you want to do. Ask these lads any of the questions. Nick, I see you've got your phone out. Have we got any questions yet?
Yeah, I'm just having a little
At
check
all?
through.
Having a little hunt through.
I don't think we've got any in just yet.
Oh,
so it
okay.
might be worth just doing a little plug for that.
Well, yeah, so please feel free if you've got any questions on anything Dave said or what season we're in or how can we be more courageous and bold as guys over there. But hey, Daz, let's come to you. What did you find really helpful from like Dave and...
I think when Dave first started talking about the difference between like moving away from Moses and into Joshua's sort of story, there's this moment where he mentioned like that's come to an end and we're moving into a new thing. And for pastors and stuff, it's really easy for us to go, church has got this whole new vibe and church has got to be this new way. But I think one of the things that went through my mind as you were preaching was there'll be loads and loads of blokes around who maybe struggled with something in the past. And maybe like, it could be anything, you know, you mentioned addiction and things like that, what's been here today, but like, you know, some of the stuff that I was thinking about were like, maybe you've just been struggling with your relationship with your wife or something, but that's gone, and they've got this awesome opportunity as we come out of lockdown to move into the new, you know, so I really started thinking about all the different things that men could be struggling with right now, or maybe have struggled with, the old has gone, the new has come. We're moving into a new season, sort of thing. You know.
Yeah, I love that line in the sand. And I guess we often think, don't we? We come back to the worst case scenarios. Oh, I've been watching porn. You know, a lot of the guys will say, oh, I've been drinking too much, or I've been looking at that woman the way that I shouldn't, or all this. But there's other mindsets.
Yeah.
When you brought that word, what were you thinking about, Dave? And how can we shift, and how can we say, hey, I want to change your mindset. I've reset, and I want to move forward now.
Yeah, I think I'd probably call them sloppy mindsets.
Yeah.
If that's, you know, the word sloppy, almost, it's what onomatopoeia, isn't it? It kind of is how it sounds, which it just doesn't, they just don't have much substance to them. And sloppy mindsets are often, they're not necessarily bad, not necessarily evil, not necessarily, you know, against God's will. They're just sloppy. And what I mean by that in terms of they're the attitudes that we have that could just do with slight tweaks, and that's why I really believe accountability is important. That's why I really believe small community is important. Not so that, you know, like we're smashed on the head every time, but someone who can just say, hey, come on, step it up a little bit. And I've played football, you've played football at a high level.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't going to mention it.
You know, in the same in team sport is how guys interact together. You know, sometimes you need a captain on the team to say, come on, you're better than that. You know, get your passing back. Or get you, and so sloppy attitudes can be, you know, just a bit of lethargy. Our speech goes a little bit downhill. Our focus is kind of just taken off course. Our energy levels kind of just depleted. And before you know it, in a number of areas, you know, we're down. And, you know, I'm not a big cycling fan, but I love, you know, Dave Brailsford, who runs the cycling team. And there's probably been a lot of, who knows, doping that's gone in British cycling. They look like they might have been. Anyway.
Always bad press around cycling.
We'll leave that. But what Dave Brailsford's all into, he's into the 1%. He's into those little fine margins that I think as men of God, we kind of just go, but actually that's sometimes what, you know, really separates those who, in the secular world, who really go for it. But in terms of the kingdom of God, it's not that God has greater favor on them, but he that is in you is greater than he that is in the world. And so just step up and try to take, you know, your thoughts captive and just try to, I suppose, do better in like everything. And we're not always going to do better, but do our best.
Yeah, I like that. And I often think about the bigger picture. You know, why'd you get into a sloppy mindset? Actually, because we're not looking at the bigger picture that God's got for us. And if you focus on where God, what the potential of where he wants to take us, then things do perspective. It's a simple way to look. But I've always thought that. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the potential. Look at what God wants to do through us and focus on that. And then you think, oh, I don't want to get sloppy. I want to be sharp. Hey, accountability is a good one. I'm going to come to you, Nick, as a younger guy. So Dave was saying, you know, in the changing room, have a cheerleader. What advice or how do you look at that? Who's cheering you on? Who's that accountability? Do you have that in place?
Yeah, I think really, for me, it's always been about who I've naturally connected with in a spiritual sense. So still, like, I have guys from the church that I grew up in down south at Kerith Community Church that I would message if something's going on and I need some help or prayer with something. And I think really it's older blokes, 9 times out of 10, making themselves available and saying, I'm here for you. Like, come to me. And for me, like, as a younger man, like, having older blokes in church to go to who have made that kind of space available, it's about me actually picking my socks up and kind of going, I'm going to approach you with this. I'm not going to wait till you ask how I am. And so, like, I say this to my young people as well, because I've had, like, young people coming to me and saying, oh, like, can you be my mentor? Like, can you help me out with this? It's like, yeah, great. Like, you make it happen, though. Like, I'm not going to chase you. If you want my input, that's great. Like, I'm there. But please, like, you look after that. And you steward that. So, that's something that I found helpful.
And when you fight for something, when you're passionate about it and you kind of make it happen yourself rather than someone putting it on you, you need to be accountable because I've seen the way you are. But when you actually take responsibility, and I guess that this is what Astonished is about, men taking responsibility for the kingdom of God in their relationships, in their friendships, being proactive, being on the front foot and not the back foot. James Treno, what about you, talking about this being on the front foot? You know, in this new season, what are you sensing how can we be on the front foot, being bold and courageous, as like Dave brought tonight? What are you sensing that our new season's looking like?
I really think that we're probably all, I love the stuff you said, Dave, about how we're probably a lot stronger than we think we are.
Yeah.
There's so much more in us than we realise. I mean, when you've got the Spirit of God in you, you have something that a lot of other people don't have.
Yeah.
I think in this new season, we've got to take personal responsibility. It's just like the stuff you were just saying, Nick, about taking, really saying, well, no one's going to look after me or really take care of what I need unless I take responsibility for it. You know, it's really hard sometimes, you know, when you offer yourself to someone and you say, I'll be here for you if you need them, and they don't follow up. But you can't take total responsibility for that, can you? And it's really important that people, and starts with us, doesn't it? Saying, well, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to look after number one in that sense.
I love it. In our location, one of the things that we found, and I really honour the guys, we do a brew group, and it came from Alive Newark, so big shout out to Ollie Hutton and the Newark crew, and they called it, and it really stood for beverage, real, encouraging, and word. And 3 or 4 of them used to get together, and it was an accountability group over a drink. The brew, but when you said, I want to brew, it was proactive. It wasn't like, I just want to catch up. It was hey, here's a challenge. How can we get together and encourage and inspire each other to get through? And I love that thought. Hey, we're going to come to the screen. I need you to be a bit proactive, as we've just talked about. Would anyone like to comment on anything that they've been inspired with tonight? Or has anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask the panel? I do need you to put your hand up. Sorry it feels so schooly over here. Otherwise, I will pick on someone over there. So, from our live Zoom audience, have you got any questions?
Alex.
Oh, Alex. Alex. Hello, Alex. What's your first question, mate?
Yeah, just a little. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Dan?
Yeah, just about, mate. I think we can hear you. Might need a bit of help. What would you like to ask, Alex?
Actually, I was just going to say, I liked what David was saying about lifting things in life, and also when he spoke about sometimes you feel like you're getting a bit slower at something. Sometimes you can think that as a musician, sometimes as an instrumentalist of any sort. I was just thinking this. Sometimes you feel that over time you used to be able to play an instrument really well, but now you're starting to slow down a little bit. Did you hear that?
I think I got a bit. Can anyone help me on the panel? A bit. Hopefully they got that at home. We're sorry, Alex, we can't 100% hear you over there. I can see your music. By the way, Alex is a phenomenal drummer, everyone. And I think that's a real gift. Can we jump around anyone else on Zoom live audience? Would anyone like a comment, or would anyone like to ask any of the panel any questions? Ken, let's come to you, Mr. Ryder.
Yeah, going on what you were talking about just now, I felt that what Dave was speaking about this evening was the question of dealing with, I'm just looking it up now, timidity and fear. Because a lot of people who have been really strong in their faith before we got into lockdown suddenly went into sort of like a world of timidity and fear because of COVID. And coming out of it, isn't going to be easy for some people. Now, when I was, younger, I hated confrontation of all sorts, and I still don't. But I've learned ways of being able to deal with things without it being sort of like ultra confrontational. But timidity and fear is something that can really hold people back. So asking the panel there, how do you think it would be best to deal with some people that have actually been really strong in the faith, but now are finding it really difficult and actually expressing fear?
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Ken. Love that comment. James?
I just think there's everything that we need in the Word of God to approach this. I think that, there's a place, there's a time to go to the doctor, there's everything like that if you're suffering from something. But really, if you go to like 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5, if you go to Romans 12:2, there's so much in there. And even just the stuff from today, be strong and courageous. God isn't saying do that yourself. He's saying stand up and agree with the Spirit that is within you. I think one of the problems is very often people will agree with the wrong stuff, fill themselves with the wrong stuff, and what ends up happening is we end up partnering with a lie, and we've got to make sure that what we believe, what we see, what we know lines up with Scripture.
Yeah, I love that. There's so much kind of bombarded with what people say is the truth, but it's twisted a lot of the time. And we know that the Word of God gives us that stability. How would you answer that, Dave?
It's a good question, and fear is a lie, you know, and fear is probably the enemy's greatest tactic in keeping people controlled and isolated. And we've even seen that from the practical expression of COVID, in terms of the fear and how, you know, I spoke to a person last week. They haven't been out of the house for 12 months. They haven't been out of the house, dark drive.
Wow.
And it is the fear of catching the infection that has kept them isolated. And so, you know, I don't want to say a devil this and a devil that. Because I think sometimes we give the devil too much credit for sometimes we think that was a devil and he's like, it wasn't me, but I'll take the credit for it. But it shows the impact that it has on it. But, you know, the Bible also says it is the perfect love of God that will drive out fear, and cast out fear. And so fear really is a lack of trust. You know, and so my kids at night, one of them who's here, I put them to bed each night, most nights, and have done during lockdown. That's been one of the positives. But they go to bed with confidence, without fear, because they trust that their dad is in the house to protect them, to look after them. And so I think, going back to the question, the good question, was it Ken?
Ken,
that Ken asks, is help people reset their relationship with God from a position of love. And the position of love will always lead to trust. You know, trust is ultimately the next step from love, which is why Jesus develops love with his disciples. The love then becomes trust. You know, trust doesn't really come before love. Love comes before trust. And if perfect love drives out all fear, I think it's taken some people back to the basics in terms of, does God love you? Yes, he does. Do you trust him? I'm beginning to trust him again. And that takes you to step out. And I found the whole COVID thing frustrating as a leader. I'm probably you have as well. Probably you have, James, as well. When we are kind of dynamic and we're kind of, come on, venture out. And there's people in China and people around the world risking their faith and, you know, doing undercover things. And, you know, we've got some people who kind of are fearful of the disease. And I'm not underplaying that because it's clearly taken out 125,000 people in our nation. So I'm not downplaying it. But you think of Paul the Apostle, you know, what he went through and the courage to go through the adversity of things that are worse than COVID. And I'm not saying there's going to be things that will come worse than COVID. But what I'm saying is we've got to find a way. The Bible says, you know, when the place was full, the men found a hole in the roof, cut a hole, and I call it find a way faith. And so I think it just goes back to the thing of help people develop love, help them to build trust, to strengthen their faith, to venture out in whatever setting. And one of those settings is overcoming the fear of the virus. You know, because the vaccine's good and the vaccine's clearly having an impact. Clearly we're seeing the benefits of that. But if there was no vaccine, you know, do we lock ourselves away for the next 30 years, 40 years? Or do we step out with wisdom and go, God, we are believing that you are going to protect us and look after us and you're going to strengthen us and we're going to overcome this? And so, long answer to a short question, sorry.
Fear and love can't live in the same space.
Right.
You know, perfect love casts out fear. They can't live in the same space. So we have to choose love and we have to be proactive on that. And I think initially when the virus came on, there was a lot of resetting, a lot of simplicity of life. There was a desperation to turn to God. And I thought in that first 3 months, wow, that we're calling prayer meetings, everyone's there, we're saying we need desperation, we need to repent, we need to say sorry, we need to say, God, we're relying on you. And I think sometimes even we use the kind of like the vaccines, although we thank God because we believe that God's in that, and he's helped us with the vaccine, but we rely on the vaccines rather than relying on that desperation of God move in power. I don't want to lose that because for the first 3 to 6 months, I was like, there's going to be a move of God. I still believe that and I'm still moving forward with that. But I'm like, I want that desperation of, I can only rely on God because nothing else is there for us. And are we going to walk out of this desperate people, actually reliant on God? You know, for our setting, I believe in a new wineskin. We'd all say we don't want to go all the way back to the old because God's doing something new, which is what you started off, Isaiah 43, 18 to 19, isn't it? That new thing I want to walk into, mindsets, love. None that we're secure in love. Hey, sorry, I got a bit waffling then. Sorry, didn't I? Anyone else?
Yeah. So I reckon there's probably loads of people that are really afraid to go out, and you can understand it after being locked in for 12 months and all that sort of stuff. And loads of people are just really, really afraid. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about, you know, what would I do if I was afraid to go out of my home, if I was afraid to do something new? And I think when you think back to the first time you ever went to school and you had to leave your mum or dad behind, and well, they left you behind and all that sort of stuff, you may remember this like mad fear of, oh no, it's a new place, it's scary, I don't know anyone and all that sort of stuff, I don't know what's going to happen to me, I don't know what my day is going to look like. But we go anyway because we're told to, and then we do a new thing anyway because we're told to, and then another new thing and another new thing. And I think what we need to do as we come out of lockdown, and I think psychologically speaking, is a good idea to start trying some smaller things out. You know, like if you've not been off your driveway, why not, you know, pop onto your next door neighbour's driveway? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and then try walking down the street a little bit, and little steps, you know, because you do need to overcome that fear. It's not good to live in that place of fear and to stay living there. So you do need to overcome it, and you're going to overcome it by taking like little mini steps. You know, and you're going to overcome it by doing the things that you did before when you were fearful. You know, I was fearful about hanging out with my wife's friends at work because they're so much cleverer than me. They're all doctors, I'm dumb. And so, you know, I'd just go and hang out and I'd chill out and try not to drink too much, you know. Does that answer your question a little bit?
No, I love it. We're getting a few questions as well, online as well. We'll come back to our Zoom panel, so if you've got any more
I've got a quick question. Can I ask James how he's got such a good haircut when the other barbers are shut?
Good shout.
I didn't go to you.
Wasn't me.
My wife, amazing. She's brilliant.
She's done a good job.
Yeah,
she has.
She's done the short back and maniac. And I tell you what, mate, I am jealous sitting here. Anyway, stop flirting, Dave. Over there, we've got some serious questions like Ethan Williams. Nick, who's your favourite youth? Oh, no. I love that. But on a serious note, he's asked a great question, which I can find. Oh, no, my eyes. What's the biggest thing you have learnt pastoring a church? Great question. Thanks to Ethan. What's the biggest thing? Let's, James. What would you say your biggest thing?
The biggest thing is so simple. Just be fully, completely reliant on God in everything that you do. And just be brave. I mean, as you know, and probably not got time to go into it, I just had a really horrible, difficult entry into church leadership with a lot of things that happened in my family. And I was really, looking back, I was so fearful. And I was so fearful. And I didn't trust God to the level that I probably trust him now. So I just say to people, just trust God. Believe him. Believe in what he's spoken into your heart.
That's good. Yeah, great. Dave?
Yeah, I posted something on social media yesterday, actually, and it said, pastors don't need to try to be incredible. They just need to work to be credible.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with me. It's something that I read. Because I think sometimes there's this thing like pastors need to be incredible. They need to preach incredibly, lead incredibly, grow incredibly, hit the targets incredibly, you know, be all things to all men incredibly. And you realise you're just going to fail. Like, I'm just going to fail. I can't do that. But what I can be is credible. What I can be is consistent. What I can be is present. And it's amazing in a very movable world how impacting just being present is. So, you know, me and my wife, we have been present every... our church is more than just Sundays. But we've been present every single Sunday since January 2020, minus 2 Sundays when we went on holiday. And I'm not blowing my own trumpet. What I'm saying is just the presence of being available, being accessible, being there means a lot to a lot of people. They're not looking for you to preach like T.D. Jakes, and they're looking for you to lead like whoever.
Danny Hargreaves.
Danny Hargreaves down in Lincoln South. They just want. They want you. I think they want you to be there. And I think as a pastor, I've learned. You know, my presence is powerful.
And young people out there who are connecting today, you know, trust the call of God. You know, God, when he speaks, he doesn't lie. Trust that calling. And I love that. We all say, you know, learning to be in your own lane. You know, I struggle because I'm not a typical pastor teacher. That's not kind of like, you know, pastoral. It's not my, I'm an evangelist. I get out there. I'm good with the community projects. I'm good at leading, and I feel really comfortable in that zone. Hopefully I inspire people. And I've learned to be great with that and then bring alongside team members who can bring that gift into your life. And that's so key, isn't it? That, you know, pastoring a church, we need the team. The day of the one woman or man ministry, I don't see it being there, you know, it's team. How can we do this all together? Lovely. Thank you, Ethan. Great question.
Dan, just let me interrupt you. You underestimate yourself, though. And I don't want to blow your trumpet too much, but seriously, there were about 2 years ago, you might not remember, but I was in a bit of a difficult place, and you gave me a call and said, let's meet up. And you were so pastoral. You were like, you probably don't even realise it, but you were amazing, and you were just what I needed in that moment.
Yeah, he is.
You're brilliant.
Great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your love. Hey, great questions. Podders. Can you read it out, Nick?
yeah. You need some glasses, mate, as well as me, eh? It's not just the refs that need glasses, is it? It's the pastors as well, eh?
Go on, Nick, what's Podders saying?
So Sam Podbury has said, what's the biggest thing God's challenged you all with over the last year or since the last Astonished conference?
Great.
Brilliant. Very good question.
Yeah,
Should we start with Daz?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Daz,
Yeah, for sure. So I think as I've been reading my scriptures and as I've been doing life as a pastor, and I was going to say this for the last question, I've learned that provision is by grace, not works. Because we often preach that salvation is by grace, not works. But I've also learned recently that provision is by grace, not works, and leadership is by grace, not works, and relationships are by grace, not works. You know, when you love someone, you give them a bit more leeway. And I believe that God has been giving us a lot more leeway recently. So yeah, grace, not works in all areas of life and all areas of relationships and everything else as well. Yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, I love that.
Right, really good.
Fantastic. Anyone else like to pick up on that one?
I think personally for me, just that wanting to get my mindset right, right from the very, very start. I had this word actually that we be like my grandfather, he fought in Burma in the Second World War. That generation was so strong. And they were like, nothing could shake them, could they? They'd been through horrors. And right throughout their lifetime, they were just so strong. And God just spoke to me and he said, this is what I can do with this generation if you're willing. But it's only if you're willing, so.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. I think my biggest challenge is how we would all say, see, I'm doing a new thing. We'd all use that. My thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are neither, not your ways. And I want to get into what is God saying to us. Not put it as a pressure, but look at it as a joy of searching after his heart. And I think we'd all say for us, the community projects, the church walls have come down. We've connected more with the community than we ever have done. And I don't want that to stop. I don't want the simplicity, some of the simplicity, basic things that we've done. I don't want that to stop. I don't want unity levels to stop. We've been united. Look, we're mates on a stage here, part of different churches. Yet we're championing and cheering each other on. Yeah. I want to look at the hybrid model that actually different people can connect in different ways. Some people are loving the online, some people are desperate to get back into services. How can we move this forward? And I think the challenge is I don't want to miss what God's doing in this opportunity. I don't think we're going to be the same, but equally, I don't want to throw everything out that we were doing because not all of it was wrong. But I'm saying, hey, I've loved this loving your neighbour, love this simplicity, but it's effective for the kingdom. And you know, and sometimes when God speaks, I complicate it. When I keep it really simple, love God with your whole heart and love others, that helps me. And I think that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, maybe like one thing just to share from me about what's been challenging. I think at times over the past year, I've felt incredibly lonely. Like I really have. But I think that has pushed me into deeper relationship with God. And like Dave was speaking about tonight, like in times of kind of adversity, like God's looking to build us, like to build resilience in us, in our hearts. And I think like in those times that are hard, incredibly difficult times of loss that I've felt over the last year and that loneliness, pushing in and trying to understand and go to God and say, what are you doing in this moment? Like, what are you trying to teach me, or what can I understand from what your word says into this? So I think for me, like, even though yeah, maybe I've struggled at times, like I really have over the last year, understanding and going to God with that and saying, you know what, there's something for me to get out of this. There's something I can take forward from this to keep me moving forward. So, yeah.
I love it. Thanks for being so honest and vulnerable. And it is interesting, isn't it? Everyone's on a different stage. And I think that empathy that we have to show everybody, and as people, some people are desperate to come back, move on. Some people, we've got to be empathetic. We've got to understand where people are at. Thanks, Nick, for being vulnerable. Let's go to our Zoom audience. Are you enjoying the conversation? Give us a thumbs up.
I've just woken up again.
Yeah, they've just woken up, are they? Hey, guys, have we got any questions from you guys? Thank you. Richard Archer, let's come to you, Richard. What's your question, please, buddy?
Can you hear me okay, Dan?
Yes.
Yep.
Just wanted to ask a question, touching a little bit on what you said earlier, Dan, and also what Dave was mentioning. Dan, you were saying about how people in this desperate time have come together through hardships of what's going on. But I want to look at more the flip side, where people have not been able to contact with the community as much as they wanted to, or because of the fellowship that they have, well, the friendships that they have with people at work, and not necessarily people through their church, because they can't connect with them as much as they used to. For those people that are just finding it a little bit harder to, just like what Alex's question was saying earlier, as somebody who's plays the instrument, is the more you kind of not play it as much and not with it as much, you tend to feel not as confident anymore. And people may feel like that in this moment with faith, where they just feel like, I'm starting to go back to old habits or old ways. I need that strength again. I've lost that being away from my community. I'm just asking to the panel, what can you advise to people going through that situation in this season that we're all going through?
Great question. Thanks, Richard.
Brilliant.
So it's basically a lack of confidence, maybe with your faith. Who would like to pick that one up?
Yeah, can do. Yeah. I think from what I understood from your question was, how do I stop myself from going back into some old mindsets? And I think we have to remember who we are and how far we've come. Also, that grace thing again. Hey, you know what? If you slip up, He is gracious. He is good. Yeah. And He will forgive you if you come to Him and confess your sins. I think it's 1 John 2 verse 2 is one of my favourite scriptures. So yeah, bang into your scripture again. Start reading it again. Maybe you've given up reading it over the last year. Maybe you sort of lost your way in it. But there's loads and loads of reasons why we all sort of start to put stuff down. Neighbours looks more interesting than God TV this week if you're into God Telly. And so you've heard every preacher on the planet now. I need something fresh. So yeah, you can find something fresh. You just got to start looking in some new places and get back into it. Get your hunger back. Pray for that hunger. I think Pentecostals, we have this thing of always desiring more, don't we? We want more of God. We want to experience Him some more. We want all of His blessing, more God. Yeah. Pray for some more of that hunger. Because it's really easy when you've been out of the fire for a little while, as a piece of coal is the old vision, isn't it? You soon start getting a bit cold. You can get back into the fire, just get into it, find some way of getting into it and jump in, find a way and get hot again. And as hard as that sounds, it's actually quite easy to jump in, isn't it?
And I love that. I think you model this, Daz, so well that actually your faith comes alive as you step out for Him. I think a lot of people are in a season where they're a bit bored, they're a bit fat, they're a bit obese, spiritually obese. Yeah. And they're like, like what you're saying, lethargic. Oh, sit down. I've heard another preach. Well, for me, it's always get out there, step out there, test God, see His glory coming. We all want more, but sometimes we're not actually willing to roll up our sleeves and say, right, the more is actually in the inconvenient place.
Yeah.
And I think that's my heart, is as we've stepped out, blessing the community, that's where the gold is. And it can be inconvenient. Because we all want the miracle and we all want the nice stories, but sometimes we don't want the inconvenience of where it takes us. And sometimes the sacrifice and the pain, but it's right and it's so good. Anyone else on that?
Yeah, I think just, there's a verse in Revelation, isn't there, which says, you've drifted from your first love.
Yeah.
You've got to go back to that place, which I think really is a verse which summarizes Richard's question, I think, in terms of it's very easy for all of us to drift from that first love.
Yeah.
And so how do we get back to that first love? I'm very kind of practical in how I think. And, I love football. And so but there was a time when I really not fell out of love with it, but I just kind of became quite disillusioned with it. And I just wasn't as fascinated as I was before. And then someone had some tickets one time and they took me to a game. And as soon as I was in the environment, I was like, and almost like there was this reconnection.
Wow factor, yeah.
I'm starting to see again.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking you have to come into a church gathering, but I tell you what, there is something about, like, even me being here tonight. In the room, worshipping with others, the cold. I'm getting hot because you're hot. Now, Dan Hargreaves is always hot. And so if he's cold, I tell you what, the end times are coming. And so if I can get around Dan, even just a little bit of warmth makes me warm.
Yeah, come on.
But like, I love to finish off with this because Paul the Apostle says this one verse. I taught it to our church on Sunday because I did a message called "What Am I Doing?" And it was based in like the question is like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I am. But Paul the Apostle says, forgetting what is behind, pressing towards what ahead. There is one thing I do. There's only one thing I do. And what is the one thing? It tells us in a few verses above it, which is I want to know Christ.
Come on.
I want to know Christ.
Yeah.
And I'd say to Richard and everyone, it's not about this and it's not about that. It's the first love of that first moment, knowing Christ, knowing the beautiful game, knowing that book, knowing your wife, that first moment, knowing who they are. If you know Christ, that's the one thing that you do. It won't be long before you just begin to, that warmth begins to really step up again. But I would also say there's no condemnation. There should be no guilt. And there should be no, sometimes guys need to know you're not the only guy going through that. We all go through those times. And like Dan, Dan says, God's love carries you through.
I love that thought. No condemnation. That's so good. And it is the atmosphere, isn't it, of being together. We're designed for relationship, and inspire. How can we lead and encourage each other? I think Mark Stowe had his hand up. Was that right, Mark? Can we come to you? What's your thought or question, mate?
I did, but Richard just stole my question. So no, it was the same thing really. I was just reflecting on the fact that I think during lockdown we've seen a bit of a polarization of faith. You get those that are kind of, I suppose, lost, and they're, as Dave said, they're absorbing church. That they're not actively participating in it, and then there's others who have really found God on their own and developed a personal relationship. I think there's been, I know certainly with our life group, we've struggled to find, there's not many in that middle ground. We're either at either side of it and at different times have that feeling. So my question was exactly the same, how can we get those that are maybe dwindling and lost a little bit? What key thing can they do to own their faith? Because I think that's the key thing, it's ownership, isn't it?
Great question, great thoughts, Mark. And it's that self-pastoring. Sometimes as pastors, we got to teach people to, when they've got an issue, of course we want to talk, but we want to help them, but we want them to go to God first. So I always say hey, what are you feeling God's saying about the situation you're in? Or have you fasted and prayed about it? Come back and then take that responsibility, because when you take that responsibility and you meet God and you say, hey, and it kind of opens up for them. It's great thought, Mark. I appreciate
Alex
that.
again.
Alex, we're back to you, my man. Alex, hopefully we can hear you. You might need to speak up because, sorry, I couldn't hear you before that much.
Okay, well, I've messed around with the speakers a little bit. Can you hear me now? If not, I'll put it in the chat.
We can hear you, Alex. Go for it.
You can hear me now, every word.
Yeah, every word.
Yes.
Thank you, Dan. It's great. So, another question for me, I think, is do you ever think that being in lockdown is a bit like being on the ark from the story of Noah?
Great question, great thought. Being in lockdown, is it a bit like being in the ark? Who would like to, Nick, over there.
I personally haven't thought of it like that, but I guess being penned in, being like around just the animals that are in your house.
Brilliant.
I guess it is certainly like that. You're kind of waiting for something, aren't you? You're waiting to be released. You're waiting to be let off the boat.
He's preaching now, isn't he?
And, come on up. We're about to go west.
Comes a boat. There's a rain coming.
I think it is like we're just kind of waiting, aren't we, for somebody to open for Boris Johnson to open up the doors of the boat and to let us out. But Yeah, I think there's a promise almost at the end that God's with us through that, and exactly the same for the guys on the boat, for the animals on the boat, and for Noah.
Yeah, Boris isn't our saviour, is he? No. Jesus is.
I love, great thought, Alex. I do love that, and I think you're bang on, because it does feel like we're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
By the way, Dave Bell, I'm getting a bit gutted he couldn't be here tonight. He's had his vaccine today. He does the best Boris Johnson impression. Oh my days, toots the boogle. In it crafted that old Boris is opening the pubs on the 21st of June when his birthday's on the 19th. I will leave it there. We're not political. Right, we've got 4 minutes left. Let's go to the panel. Or Nick, is there any other questions? Panel, have we got any questions from the panel? Any words of wisdom?
I've had one privately messaged to me.
Privately messaged?
This is
hello.
Specifically for Dave Niblock, okay?
Yeah, here we go, Dave.
Someone who is on our executive team in Alive Church, so just to slightly drop him in it. He said, ask Dave Niblock if Louis Garcia's ghost goal in 2005 Champions League semi was a goal.
To finish on that spiritual note.
Of course it was.
It was a goal.
Without a shadow of a doubt. In the same way that they'll get a few more. I'm hoping Liverpool play Chelsea in the semi-finals of the Champions League this year.
It
do
could
the
happen.
same again.
Yeah, it could happen, mate. Yeah.
I hate Chelsea. Yeah. Can I just say that? I hate.
Hey, don't start
I
this.
hate Chelsea.
Nick's a Chelsea fan. We've got a Forest fan here.
I hate Chelsea. I hate Man U.
Don't kill off all the good things that you've said, Dave, by like everyone like now going,
any more,
not sure
mate,
about
you're
that.
in the
Spurs.
book. Any more, you're in the book, mate.
Brighton, they never do anything, so you're all right.
Bothered about them.
Yeah.
Beat you at home this season.
Hey, Lincoln City, we're still pushing for promotion.
Come on.
But Daz, you like, are you a football man or not?
Oh, mate, yeah, I used to be really into it, like too much into it.
What, playing?
Too much into everything.
But, mate, I used to have like 4 cans of Stella before I went on the pitch.
I'm playing. Oh, that's good. Right, we have got 2 minutes. Any final questions from the panel?
Now I've got a question.
Jonas, thank you.
So we talked a bit about having like good friends who you can be accountable to, and obviously that takes time to develop friendships like that. What advice would you give people watching this who just don't have anyone like that in their life? What would you say to them at this time?
Great question. Yeah, great question. James.
Oh, thanks,
I'm gonna
Dan.
come to
Thanks
you,
for giving me that
mate.
difficult question.
Yeah.
I would say that's shows the importance of church life, and I would just firstly make sure you're part of a church, even if it's only virtually at the minute, and approach someone who you know, or approach a pastor and say, this is a lack in my life, and we really need one another. Accountability is something that used to be when I was growing up in church, it seemed to be a bit of a dirty word. It was like people didn't want to be held accountable, people want to be able to do their own thing. But I think it's actually really within the heart of God, because I think all of us need other people to help us. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Dave.
I think there's a proverb that says, he who is friendly wins friends. I think that's right.
Yeah.
In terms of, if you want to friend, you have to be friendly. You can't just wait for friends to come to you. You have to be friendly.
Yeah.
And some of my best friends, because I can be quite self-sufficient, and as a result of that, I kind of feel like I sometimes don't need loads of people. I find life simpler sometimes like that. But as I've kind of just dropped the barriers, I've realised you don't have to be into the same things as me, enjoy the same things as me, have the same opinions as me. But just drop your guard a little bit and show some vulnerability.
Yeah, I love it.
And allow relationships to develop. They're not probably going to be best friends overnight, but allow them to take time. But I do think your best friends are those that you enjoy being with. And sometimes we discount enjoyment and we go, it needs to be accountable, someone I hate being with. No, you can still be accountable with someone that you just love their company.
Yeah. And it's easier to be accountable with them as well. And Jesus modeled that with his friends, didn't he? He built the kingdom of God on relationships and friendships. And the vulnerability and, it's that identity, knowing who you are, but being authentic, being true to yourself, not trying to put on a show. The Bible talks about it, the message talks about it. Don't put on a show. Yeah. Hey, be who you are. Yeah, we're going from glory to glory. We don't want to stay where we are, but be authentic to who you are. And surround yourself with people who are going to uplift you as well. But take that responsibility of uplifting others. Oh, lads, our time is up, everybody. Have you enjoyed it? Panel?
Awesome. Been good.
How's our
So
Zoom
good.
audience? Has that been helpful? Have you enjoyed that? Well, I want to say massive thank you.
Have you ever seen Nihal? Not Nihal, the guy who does the program on the Zoom. What's his name? The comedian, Ramesh.
Oh yeah, Ramesh.
Is one of them not wearing trousers?
Rangadation.
I think it's.
Ken Ryder.
Ken, have you got trousers on?
You got to stand up and
No,
show us.
that could get awkward.
We just need to find out. We need to find out about flight landing.
Oh yeah, Kev, is your flight landed, by the way, mate? Oh, he's gone. There he is.
Coming into East Midlands Airport now is the 6499 from Cyprus, driven by...
We are going to have to land this plane, thank you. Then, did you like the link?
Or land Noah's Ark.
Hey, we want to say thank you so much. Thank you to our panel. Can we have a round of applause for our panel? Can we have a big thank you to all of our amazing Zoom audience? Thank you, everybody, for connecting at home. We want to say thank you for, obviously, the moment, bringing us worship. We want to say thank you to Dave for bringing the word. Thank you for our panel today. Thank you for our amazing media and tech team.
Thank you
I would
to
like
Dan
to say
Hargreaves.
thank you.
And for Mr. Dan Hargreaves.
And Nick and Matt for the pre-show. We are a great team here. Massive thank you to everybody who's been here, all the camera crew, all the media crew. Thank you so much. And Tom, thank you for reminding me to keep looking at that camera and not any other cameras. Well, Astonished, we hope that this has inspired you. We hope that this has encouraged you. And our prayer is that you go and live a life of astonishment for others so that you point them to Jesus. Hey, remember the authority God's given you. You are called to make a difference in whatever area that God has placed you. Let's be bold. Let's be courageous. Let's have that Joshua spirit that Dave's brought us with you. And we are going to be back for Astonished 2022. Wow. Can you believe we're in 2022? Massive thank you to everyone connecting. We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Spread the love and God bless you. Thank you, everyone. Good night and God bless you all.
Bless y'all.